Today, I'm going to be talking to you about volume 2 of Fire Punch. So getting into this cover, I actually really like it. I think that it looks really cool. We have Togata on the covers, a character that I'm going to cover very much in depth in this video. And I think that the colorways, along with like the look that they are giving, is really, really awesome. The teal color of the hair, along with like the messy line work that Fujimoto does, is like unbelievably good. And it does a really good job of making Togata look like they could either be like the hero or the villain of this particular volume. And I think that that really does a good job of presenting some mystery to Togata before we even begin reading this volume, as we meet her at the very end of volume 1. So we already do know her a little bit, but we don't really know much about the character yet. Overall, I like this cover for this volume specifically. I don't think it's as good as volume 1's cover is, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it an 8 out of 10. In terms of like plot and characters for this volume, I really only want to focus on Togata. She takes over like the majority of this volume. Togata is a 200-plus-year-old blessed, and she has a regeneration technique. She meets Agni and decides that she wants to make a movie about him, as she meets him in the last one, and she's like, oh my god, a man on fire, this is crazy. And we learn that she's like a cinephile, so she like loves movies, and recently all of her old films that she had got burned, and so now she wants to make a movie of her own, essentially. It's a really interesting kind of wrinkle to throw in there for a character, but I think it really adds to Togata just being kind of like a pretty out there person. Like, she doesn't really seem to take anything seriously, but in terms of like combat ability, holy shit, she is absolutely crazy. You guys know that I don't really try to spoil that much, or like to spoil that much with like these manga reviews. I try to keep them as spoiler free as possible, just give you like a rundown. But like, this volume of the manga has one of the most amazing fight scenes that I've ever seen. It takes place on a train, is absolutely crazy. We see Togata, and when we meet her, we're like, oh, she's just like a little filmmaker. No, she's not just a little filmmaker. She's insanely sick. Like, she goes berserk on this train, and there's like a 30-page long fight scene, and it is like absolutely crazy. Like, it's actually so good to the point that I would like to see this animated, but I think due to the darkness of this series, like volume 1, they would definitely have to cut some stuff out, like specifically with like bestiality and like sexual assault. Like, you can't just have like a series full of that, and that happens a little more in this as well. I'll go over that in a bit, but I don't think it could ever get a proper anime adaptation. Also, there's only 8 volumes, so it's like, it's not like a Jujutsu Kaisen where there's 20 plus volumes, you know, or like a Bleach where there's like 100 plus volumes, or however many volumes they have now. Not Bleach, sorry, I meant One Piece. But you know, this is 8 volumes, so I just don't know the viability for it to get an anime. But if they do get an anime, you guys better believe I'm gonna be hyped for that, and I'm gonna be building hype for that for sure. So I think this volume does a lot in terms of world building, and I think that because this volume does dial back the darkness a little bit, you know, relative to the first volume, it does a lot more to develop the story and characters outside of like just the shock value that we saw in the first volume. With that being said, I will say that it doesn't like shy away from things like slavery, especially in this volume. We see Sun, the kid from the first one, he gets enslaved, which is not cool, along with like sheer violence in the panels during the fight scenes themselves, you know. But I definitely think that this volume is a bit better than the first in terms of violence and like mature content. Like, this is a little bit more action oriented, and I think that's why I like it. You know, I like Jujutsu Kaisen for the action and stuff and for the plot. Like, this has a crazy overarching world. The world is messed up, but I think the action and the plot are fantastic. That's why, you know, I generally tend to lean towards like shonen anime, because, you know, there are fights and I like seeing fights and stuff like that. Jujutsu Kaisen and this are some of the only anime that I've ever read manga, sorry, that I've ever read along with Chainsaw Man. And I have to say, this one's fights so far, that train fight is like probably in my top 3 fights. Like, there are some other fights that are really good, obviously, in Jujutsu Kaisen, but that train fight was phenomenal. But I just think this volume is a bit better in terms of like the content, like what you actually get, what you actually read, the world building outside of just being like, oh yeah, this world fucked up, time to be edgy, you know, type of stuff. In terms of bang for your buck, you can actually find this volume on Amazon for $12.99. So it is a bit more expensive than a usual manga, but if you've picked up volume 1, absolutely pick this one up. This one's definitely like far better than volume 1 in my opinion. Like, there's just a lot more development to characters and stuff, and we get to just see, I mean, Togata as a character is just an exceptionally interesting person. Along with that, I kind of want to show you guys like the size of it versus like a regular manga. So, you know, it's like, it's a little bit taller, it's a little bit bigger, so you are like getting more like per panel if you want to look at it that way. That Bleach that I just showed you is the same exact size as Jujutsu Kaisen, and they're still 200 plus, like 210 pages. So the Jujutsu Kaisen are like 200 on average pages, and so you're getting like, I don't know, an eighth of an inch more or a half an inch more per volume. So I would definitely recommend picking this up, especially if you have the first one. Wrapping up my thoughts on the second volume, I like very much enjoyed this. Like, obviously I don't think I think I've been able to convey that pretty well to you guys. There weren't any like parts of this book where I had to put it down for a second to take in like the messed up things that were happening. Like with the first one, there were some times where I was just like, I was just like, what the hell am I reading right now? Like, why did I buy this? This is messed up. But there was nothing like that. And in fact, I ran through this in like 45 minutes because I was just like, holy shit, this story is getting crazy. So I was just like, I love this, absolutely love this volume. You know, as I previously mentioned, I really enjoyed the continuation on the world building that we get to see in this volume. And you know, there are some pretty crazy revelations that go on at the very end of this specific volume that I will not be spoiling for you guys. I'm probably gonna have to talk about it in the next one. Those revelations really made me want to continue to read this series, which is a great sign. Like, there are some manga that I've read where I'm like, this is kind of a drag. Like, this is taking forever, nothing's happening. Whereas like this, Jujutsu Kaisen, like Pun, like Bleach, Berserk, which I haven't really gotten into that much, but like all of them do a very good job of moving the plot forward, and I think this volume specifically does it exceptionally well. So taking all of that into consideration, I'm gonna give this volume a 10 out of 10. I don't know if I've given a volume a 10 out of 10 yet in my like personal reviews. Loved this volume. This was a great read. Like, I think I just enjoyed like the entire process of getting to read it, and then knowing I was gonna get to make a video about it for you guys, I was hyped and I was loving it. So I think a thing that Fujimoto does really well in this is to continue like the world building that we saw first volume. I think that's like a phenomenal thing that he does, and I think that this volume did it exceptionally well as well. All right, there we have it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please drop a like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you guys want to see next. Let me know if there's any other series that you guys want me to cover. Like, I'm definitely gonna be doing Chainsaw Man. I had that vote, you guys voted on it, so I'm definitely gonna be doing that at some point. Probably gotta figure out, I might record some videos tonight or write up a script for tonight for volume 1 and 2. But there we have it. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, drop a like, subscribe, comment. Thank you all for watching. Love you. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.